Welcome to BBC Rare Coins, where history hides in your hands and treasure could be hiding in your pocket. Subscribe now and join the BBC Rare Coins family, where every coin tells a story, and every story could lead to your next big discovery. Top 1. We're diving into a jaw-dropping story of a tiny coin worth a massive $63,000. Yes, it's true, a 1974 USA 5-cent nickel that looks completely ordinary but hides an extraordinary secret. In 1974, the United States Mint produced millions of 5-cent coins, commonly known as nickels. Most of these coins were used in everyday transactions and are now considered common. But hidden among those ordinary coins are a handful of rare pieces that are now worth a small fortune. And one of those rare 1974 nickels sold for an unbelievable $63,000 at auction. What could possibly make a 5-cent coin worth that much money? The answer lies in a combination of rare minting errors, near-perfect condition, and an element of mystery that excites collectors around the world. In the case of the $63,000 nickel, it wasn't just one factor, it was the perfect storm of numismatic rarity. First, let's talk about minting errors. These happen when something goes wrong during the coin's production at the mint. It could be a double die error, where the image on the coin is struck twice slightly off-center, causing a visible doubling in the lettering or numbers. It could be an off-center strike, where the coin design is misaligned. Or it could be something even rarer, like being struck on the wrong metal planchet, which means the coin was made on a blank intended for a completely different coin. The 1974 nickel that sold for $63,000 was struck on the wrong planchet. That alone makes it a standout. But it didn't stop there. This particular coin also featured what collectors call full steps. That refers to the staircase on Monticello, the building shown on the back of the nickel. On most nickels, especially those that have been circulated, the steps are faint or completely worn down. But on this coin, every single step was crisp, clean, and fully struck. That kind of detail is incredibly rare, even on uncirculated coins. The coin was professionally graded and received a Mint State 67 full steps designation, one of the highest possible grades. Grading plays a huge role in a coin's value. The difference between a coin graded MS 65 and one graded MS 67 can mean tens of thousands of dollars. And when you add in a rare error like a wrong planchet strike, you have a coin that becomes a true collector's dream. When this coin hit the auction block, it immediately attracted the attention of top collectors and investors. Bidding started modestly but quickly escalated as the uniqueness of the coin became clear. By the time the auctioneer brought down the hammer, the final price had reached an astonishing $63,250. That's right, a 5-cent coin sold for over $63,000. Now, here's the exciting part, there could be more out there. These rare nickels were never meant to exist. The errors weren't caught at the mint, and they entered circulation just like any other coin. That means one could be sitting in someone's coin jar, forgotten in a drawer, or hiding in a childhood collection. So what should you look for? Start by checking the date, 1974. Then look closely at the Monticello steps on the reverse side. If you can see every single step clearly, you might have a full steps nickel. Next, check the edges, the color of the metal, and the thickness of the coin. If anything looks unusual, it might be a planchet error. And if the coin looks pristine, with little to no wear, it could be worth having it professionally graded. Even if you don't have the $63,000 coin, other 1974 nickels in high grade or with minor errors can still fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Collectors are always looking for the next hidden gem. This story proves that incredible value can come from the most unexpected places. A simple coin, one that's easy to overlook, can turn out to be a life-changing discovery. So the next time you find a nickel in your change, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. Because that small coin might just be a hidden treasure, a 5-cent piece with a $63,000 surprise, and who knows? You might be holding a piece of American history, and a piece of fortune in the palm of your hand. Top 2. Imagine holding a 5-cent coin that could pay off your car loan, cover college tuition, or even buy you a brand new luxury watch. Sounds impossible, right? But in the world of rare coins, even a small nickel can make a huge impact. And that's exactly what happened with one unbelievable 1980 USA 5-cent coin, a tiny piece of pocket change that sold for an eye-popping $59,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 1980 nickel, just 5 cents in face value, changed hands for $59,000 at a prestigious coin auction. The story behind this coin is nothing short of extraordinary. To understand how this happened, we need to look at a few key factors that can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream: rarity, condition, and error. The United States Mint produced millions of nickels in 1980. Most were used, worn, and eventually forgotten. But one coin, just one, was struck under a rare and extremely specific set of conditions. The result? A coin so perfect, so pristine, and so rare, that collectors were willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars to own it. This 1980 nickel was graded MS 67 full steps, a near-perfect mint state. What makes the full steps designation so special is the reverse side of the coin, where Monticello, the famous building, is displayed. Most nickels, especially those that go into circulation, have worn or incomplete steps. But the rarest examples show every step clearly and sharply defined. The more steps visible, the higher the value, and this one had perfectly struck steps, with no breaks or flaws, the highest level of detail that can possibly be achieved. But that's not all. This particular coin also had a striking mint error that made it even more valuable. It was struck with slight doubling on the date and some lettering, what collectors call a double die error. These errors happen when the coin is struck more than once by misaligned dies, causing a shadow-like doubling effect on the coin's surface. It's rare. It's eye-catching. And it drives up the price dramatically. A coin with full steps is rare. A coin with a double die error is rare. A coin with both, in mint state, from 1980, that's almost unheard of. When this nickel appeared at a major coin auction, experts knew it would command attention. But no one expected what happened next. As the auctioneer opened the bidding, the price climbed steadily. Collectors competed fiercely, recognizing the sheer uniqueness of what was on offer. By the time the final gavel fell, the winning bid had reached $59,000. A 5-cent coin. $59,000. Now here's the exciting part: this coin wasn't pulled from a museum or a mint vault. It came from a private collector who had kept it tucked away for years. That means there's a real chance that more like it are still out there, in old collections, in coin jars, maybe even in someone's pocket right now. So what should you be looking for? Start with the date, 1980. Then examine the steps on the Monticello. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. If you see full, uninterrupted lines on the stairs, you may have a full steps nickel. Then, check for any signs of doubling in the date or lettering. And of course, condition matters. The closer to uncirculated, the better. Even if your 1980 nickel isn't worth $59,000, there are many out there selling for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially in high grades. Coin collectors pay a premium for rare errors, clean details, and strong strikes. This isn't just a story about a valuable coin. It's a reminder that hidden treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. Sometimes, they're sitting in a drawer. Other times, they're handed to you as change at the gas station. One moment, it's just a nickel. The next, it's a small fortune. So take a closer look at your old coins. Because you never know when a 5-cent piece from 1980 might turn out to be the jackpot, just like the one that sold for $59,000. In the world of coin collecting, every pocketful of change is a chance at discovery. And stories like this prove that sometimes, the smallest coins hold the biggest surprises. Top 3. Because one rare 1995 USA 5-cent nickel recently shocked the numismatic world when it sold for an unbelievable $54,000 at auction. That's right, a coin worth just 5 cents on paper turned out to be a hidden treasure. It all started with a collector going through their old coin set. Just a casual glance, just another ordinary nickel from 1995, or so it seemed. But this wasn't just any coin. This was one of the rarest and most valuable nickels ever discovered. From the 1990s. At first glance, the coin looked clean, sharp, and incredibly well preserved. But a closer look revealed something truly extraordinary. the details of Monticello, the iconic building on the back of the coin, were absolutely perfect. Every single step was fully struck and clearly defined. This is what collectors call full steps, one of the most sought-after features in modern nickels. Most nickels, especially ones that have circulated, show wear and softness in the step details. But this 1995 nickel, it had flawless full steps, untouched, unbroken, and razor-sharp, but that was just the beginning. Under magnification, experts noticed something else. A subtle yet unmistakable double-die error on the date and the letters. The digits, 1995, appeared slightly shadowed. The word Liberty had a faint doubling effect. This was a double-die obverse, a rare minting error caused when the coin is struck more than once with a misaligned die. Combine that with the full steps and unbelievably high condition, and what you have is a 1 in a million coin. Literally, graded MS-67 full steps by one of the top grading companies. This 1995 nickel became a numismatic superstar. MS-67 means it's in near-perfect mint state, almost untouched since the day it was struck. When this coin hit the auction block, collectors knew it wouldn't go cheap. But no one expected what happened next. The bidding was fast, competitive, and intense. Bids flew past $10,000, then $25,000, then $40,000. When the final bid landed, the hammer came down at a stunning $54,000. One of the most ordinary-looking coins became one of the most extraordinary sales in modern coin history. What makes this story even more incredible is that this coin didn't come from a bank vault, a museum, or a government archive. It came from a personal collection, just sitting there, waiting to be discovered, which begs the question, could there be more out there? The answer is, absolutely. The US Mint produced over 1 billion nickels in 1995. But among them, a few were struck with rare errors, unclean planchets, with exceptionally strong strikes. If even one of those coins managed to survive in mint condition, it could be worth a small fortune today. So what should you look for? First, the date, 1995. Then flip the coin over and examine the steps on Monticello. If all 5 or 6 steps are perfectly visible, with sharp lines and no breaks, that's a major sign. Then check the front, the obverse, for any signs of doubling on the date, the word Liberty, or other lettering. Even the faintest double die can add incredible value. And finally, consider the condition. A circulated coin may be worth a few bucks if it has an error. But an uncirculated, high-grade coin, especially with full steps, could be worth thousands, or tens of thousands, even if you don't have the exact $54,000 coin. 1995 nickels with similar features have been known to sell for $500, $1,000, $3,000, and more, depending on condition and rarity. It just goes to show, sometimes the biggest surprises come in the smallest packages. So go check your drawers, your jars, your old folders. Because one simple nickel could change your life. The 1995 USA 5-cent coin that sold for $54,000 proves once again that treasure doesn't always come in gold bars and diamond rings. Top 4. It sounds impossible. But this story is 100% real. One small coin, one big surprise, and one very lucky collector. The 1996 USA 5-cent nickel is not considered rare at first glance. In fact, the US Mint produced over 1.6 billion nickels that year. Billions of coins that passed through vending machines, cash registers, and pockets without anyone giving them a second thought. But among those billions, one stood out, and that one coin became a legend. This particular 1996 nickel was discovered by a collector who knew exactly what to look for. At first, it appeared to be in amazing condition, no scratches, no signs of wear, no blemishes. But when it was examined under magnification, it revealed something extraordinary. The steps on Monticello, the famous building on the back of the coin, were fully struck, sharp, and clearly visible. This is what coin experts call a full steps nickel. It's a term that collectors love, because it means the coin was struck with incredible pressure and detail. But here's the thing, most nickels, even new ones, don't have full steps. It's rare. It's difficult to find. And when you add mint condition to the equation, the value shoots up. but this 1996 nickel had something even more special. A striking mint error that made it almost one of a kind. It was struck slightly off-center, giving the coin a unique and visually dramatic appearance. That kind of error is rare. But an off-center strike on a full steps nickel in nearly perfect condition, that's practically unheard of. This coin was sent for grading and received an astonishing MS-67 full steps designation. That's a near-perfect mint state rating. Just 1 or 2 grades below absolute perfection. When it hit the auction scene, it didn't take long for the bidding to erupt. Collectors immediately recognized the value. The combination of full steps, a dramatic off-center error, and an ultra-high grade was too rare to ignore. Bidding climbed. $10,000, $20,000, then $35,000. And it didn't stop. The final sale price, $51,000. That's right. A coin worth 5 cents at face value sold for more than $50,000. This isn't just a coin. It's a moment in minting history. A rare mistake turned masterpiece. And what makes this story even more incredible is that the coin wasn't hidden in a museum or locked away in a vault. It was found by a private collector. Someone just like you, which leads to one huge question: could there be more? The answer is yes. With over 1,001,996 nickels in circulation, it's very possible that others with similar errors or full steps exist. The key is knowing what to look for. Start with the year, 1996. Flip the coin and examine the steps on Monticello. If you can clearly count 5 or 6 uninterrupted steps, that's a huge sign. Next, check for off-center strikes, misalignments, doubling, or unusual markings. If the coin appears to be perfectly centered and flawless, it may still be valuable, but when you combine multiple features like full steps plus error plus high grade, you're looking at something truly special. Condition matters. A coin straight from circulation won't bring $51,000. But a coin that has been preserved in mint condition, without wear, and graded professionally, that could be the jackpot. Even if yours isn't worth $51,000, other 1996 nickels in great condition or with minor errors have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars. This story proves that value can hide in plain sight. In a coin jar, an old folder, or the back of a desk drawer. You don't need to be rich to find treasure, you just need to pay attention to the small details. The 1996 5-cent nickel that sold for $51,000 reminds us that sometimes the most overlooked things turn out to be the most valuable. So go check your change. Top 5. How much is 5 cents really worth? To most people, not much. It's a coin you toss in a jar, forget in your car's cup holder, or ignore at the bottom of your pocket. But what if that little nickel was actually worth $47,000? Yes, $47,000 for a 1998 USA 5-cent coin. A coin you might have spent without thinking twice. And today, we're diving into the jaw-dropping story of how one seemingly ordinary nickel turned out to be a life-changing treasure. It all started when a collector, just casually looking through some old change, spotted a 1998 nickel that looked a little too perfect. At first glance, it gleamed. It was sharp, crisp, practically flawless, but as any serious coin collector knows, perfection is just the beginning. When this coin was inspected more closely, 2 things became very clear. It had full steps on the reverse side, and it had a rare mint error. That powerful combination made this coin 1 in a billion. Let's break it down. On the back of every Jefferson nickel, there's an image of Monticello, the iconic home of Thomas Jefferson. At the base of the building is a staircase. Most of the time, especially on coins that have been in circulation, those steps are worn down or softly struck, but not this one. This 1998 nickel had full steps, meaning every individual step was fully struck and perfectly visible. That kind of sharp detail is incredibly rare, even on uncirculated coins. Collectors go crazy for full steps, because it shows the coin was struck with maximum precision and care. But the story doesn't end there. This same coin also had a dramatic double die error, a rare mistake where the coin is struck twice with slightly misaligned dies. The result? A subtle but unmistakable doubling in the word liberty, the date 1998, and parts of the motto, "In God We Trust." These errors are incredibly valuable because they're almost impossible to fake and extremely rare to find. Now, here's where it gets even more exciting. The coin was professionally graded and given a stunning MS-67 full steps designation. That's near mint perfection, one of the highest grades possible for a modern nickel. The grading alone pushed its value through the roof. But combined with the full steps and the double die error, this coin became a numismatic unicorn. When it was listed for auction, it didn't take long before bidding went wild. Collectors knew what they were looking at. Offers started rolling in, $10,000, then $20,000, then $35,000. The buzz built up fast, and by the time the final bid landed, the hammer dropped at a jaw-dropping $47,000, a 5-cent coin. $47,000, and here's the part that's almost unbelievable: this coin wasn't found in a museum or a bank vault. It came from someone's private collection. An everyday person with an eye for detail, and a little bit of luck. So now the big question is, could there be more out there? Absolutely. The US Mint produced over 1 billion nickels in 1998. Most of them are worth only their face value. But a tiny number, struck with perfect pressure, on flawless planchets, with rare die errors, are worth a fortune. The key is knowing what to look for. Start with the year, 1998. Then flip the coin and look closely at the steps on Monticello. If you see sharp, clear, unbroken lines, you might be holding a full steps nickel. Next, inspect the lettering and date under a magnifier. Look for subtle doubling, especially in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you spot it, that's a major sign of a double die error. And finally, condition is everything. If the coin looks uncirculated, brilliant, and sharp, you could be holding something special, even if it's not the exact $47,000 nickel. Others with similar traits have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. This story proves that hidden treasure can be anywhere, in an old coin folder, in your junk drawer, or mixed into your loose change. So check your nickels, because somewhere out there, another 1998 5-cent coin might be waiting to turn someone into the next lucky collector with a $47,000 surprise. In the world of rare coins, even the smallest piece of metal can carry the biggest value. You just have to look a little closer.